physical book. In this book, yeah, I just want to get it over with at this point. No tea, no shade. Hi fairies, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Fifi. It's so nice to have you here. I hope you stay a while. Today we are going to be doing our monthly readathon. At the beginning of this year I decided to film a readathon every single month for the entire year, and so far it's going pretty well. I haven't missed any yet, so thank God for that. But yeah, it is March obviously, and we are going to be doing our March readathon, so let's just get straight into it. I have two books that I already started that I would like to read in this video. Okay, the first one is Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross, and this is the second book in the Divine Rivals duology. I actually read the first book, Divine Rivals, in my February readathon, so you can go and check that out if you'd like. But I absolutely loved that book. Like, I gave it 5 stars and it was just so freaking good in my opinion. There were some plot issues and stuff with the world building that honestly wasn't really good, but I personally just really loved the characters and the love story, and that's why I gave it 5 stars. But coming into this book, I'm already 20% into it, and I will say it's not giving me the feels that the first book gave me. Like 20% into the first book I was already obsessed, like things were moving and I was just having a really good feeling about that book. But this one, I don't know, it just feels quite slow first of all, and the writing, while it's still good, obviously this author is a good author in my opinion, there's just something a bit off. The pacing just isn't the best right now, and the plot is not the best thing at the moment. It's not really grabbing me the way that I thought it would. Obviously we're still 20% into it, so there's a lot that can happen and a lot that can change, but I just thought that by now I would have had something to hold on to, and that hasn't happened, unfortunately. I can't really tell you too much about this book because it will be spoiling the first book. This book obviously is as a result of the things that happened at the end of the first book. What I will say is that Iris and Kit are quite separated at the moment, and Kit is just sorting through some things that he is trying to understand because of the things that happened at the end of the last book, while Iris is trying to find Kit and also just figuring some things out with her people. So yeah, right now it's kind of picking up. I do hope it really picks up and the pacing evolves, and the plotting as well. I will say there was a grammatical error which actually took me by surprise because I did not expect that from this author. The first book was just so freaking good. There was nothing wrong with the writing whatsoever, and so to see a grammatical error in this one, especially like such a stupid and flimsy error, it just really put me off. It was literally one line, and instead of saying she fell asleep, it said she felt asleep. And it's not that big of a deal by any means, it's surely just one letter, but for some reason it just pissed me off. It pissed me off. If you've been following me, if you've been watching my videos, you know that one thing I really hate is grammatical errors. Because why? Where are the editors? And seeing that grammatical error kind of just made me think more about the people that are saying this book felt quite rushed and not as good as the first one. It didn't feel very fleshed out. It didn't feel very thought through. That's what a lot of people have been saying about this second book, and I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt. I really loved the first one. I genuinely thought the second one would be so freaking good, and once again we're just 20% into it, so things obviously will evolve and get better, but right now it's not looking as good as I would have liked. Okay, but the second book that I started is Legendborn by Tracy Dion. This is a very interesting book in my opinion. It is an urban fantasy, and I've never read an urban fantasy, so I was very intrigued. I've heard about this book so freaking much. I've been hearing about it for years and years and years, and I just haven't gotten into it, but today I decided to just try it, and I will say I'm really liking it. The third book just came out, which is why I remembered it, and people have been talking about it, so I decided to get into it. It's basically about this girl called Brie. She applies for this university that her mom went to when she was younger, and when she gets accepted, she tells her mom, and her mom is just like not accepting of that, and she they have a fight. Her mom goes out that day and it's like, okay, we'll talk more about this later in the night, but unfortunately she dies in a car accident, and now Brie is just grappling with that fact that she fought with her mom right before she died, and also just various things with her mental health. And I really like the mental health aspect of this book. I also really like how diverse, it's not like diverse in the world, because this is a black girl in a very predominantly white area essentially, but I like how it's really talking about black girl things. Like, we've gotten some references about her hair and, you know, things that she has had to face as a black girl. I will say though, the fact that this book is a modern and urban fantasy is kind of contradicting the way they are honing in on this, her being the only black girl in this school. Like, obviously, as I said, she got accepted into the school and she eventually goes even after her mother passes away, and she's literally the only black girl so far in this entire school. And it just feels like, is that really a thing right now? Like, are there really places where there are barely any black people in this modern world? I don't really know. Let me know actually. But yeah, I will say I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying the writing. It's nothing special or spectacular, but it's very straightforward and still very inspired. You can definitely tell that this author knows what she's doing, and I just like the plotting so far and the pacing. It's very steadily paced, but also almost quite fast paced. We went straight into it. Things just kept happening and it hasn't slowed down just yet, and I'm really liking it, like genuinely liking it, and I can see the appeal, and this is actually making me want to read more urban fantasy. Like, I wanted to start, I think it was Babel. Is that an urban fantasy? I think it was Babel, or like, I think it's the Book of Azrael. There's like one of those books that is an urban fantasy that people have been talking about recently, and I wanted to start it, but I was just very hung up on the fact that when I think of urban fantasy, I think like very modern world, and I do not like modern references in books. It's something that just icks me out. And in this book, I thought that would happen, but it hasn't really happened. Yes, there has been mention of the internet and more modern things, but it's not icking me out, and there's nothing too extra, and so I'm really appreciating that right now. I am 17% into it. I'm actually in part 2. I don't know if you can see that. Basically, she went to this school, this university, college, whatever, and she finds out that there's this high society, secret society situation with a bunch of elite people that essentially work to protect humankind. They are protecting humankind from demons, and the whole magic system is very interesting to me because it's based and centered around King Arthur and the whole thing with the sword and his heirs, and it's just very, very interesting to me. Like, we're getting Merlin references, stuff like that. It's just very, very intriguing, and I'm definitely intrigued. I started it earlier today and I'm constantly thinking of it. I'm constantly wanting to get back into it, so that's a very good, feeling. That's when you know the book is really good, when you cannot stop thinking of it and cannot stop thinking of reading it. And yeah, we are going to actually start the timer now so I can get to reading. I don't know if you can see this, but the timer has started. I'm going to read, and yeah, I'll update you when I feel the need to. I'm genuinely loving this book, Legendborn. I am currently 31% into it, chapter 18, and why is it so good? Why am I like literally eating it up? I did not think I would like an urban fantasy this much. It's so fast paced, like things are just happening and happening and happening. I will say though, this book is really reminding me of, I don't know if anybody knows this show. Actually, it's a very popular show if I'm not mistaken, The Order. Have any of you watched The Order? Yeah, this book is very reminiscent of that show, and I don't know how I feel about that because I did not love that show. I didn't even finish it because I just thought the acting and the writing was not that good. So yeah, this book definitely is way better, especially when it comes to the writing. I really am loving this book, and the world building as well. It's very interesting how it's just based on this whole King Arthur thing, and then based on like high elites and upper echelon people. Like, it's just so cool in my opinion. I don't know if this is like a romantasy or just pure fantasy, because it seems like there might be a romance situation, but like there are two people that could be romantic interests. So it's very interesting watching all of that unfold. I don't know who I would even root for because it's not even like they're being portrayed in a romantic light at all, but I feel like I can I can see it. I really like our FMC because she's very like strong-willed and determined. Like she always kind of acts and gets what she wants, not in like a bratty way, but in a determined way. And she was able to maneuver and body her way into joining this secret society, essentially, in a bid to find out what actually happened to her mom. So it's all very interesting to me. Like I said, I'm really liking it. I'm eating it up. I do want to like wash my face, get ready for not really bed, but like wind down. But I will be listening to the audiobook while I'm doing all that, so I don't have to pause the timer. Yeah.
Wanna be there in the morning. Wanna be the one you're holding. Deep inside, I wanna feel you. But all I need from you is tell me that you love me. Tell me that you need me. Tell me I'm the only one for you, babe. Tell me that you want me and that you wanna hold me. If I'm being honest, I wanna hear you say it. I wanna hear you say it.
Hi guys, oh my god, I look please ignore how I look right now. I literally just woke up. Okay, it's early in the morning and we have about 16 hours and 46 minutes on the timer, and yeah, I got 70% into legendborn and I'm really liking it. Everything I've already said still stands. I like the FMC. I think she's very strong and, you know, determined, and I like how she just gets things done even though she's going through some personal things with the grief of her mother's death, and she is very obviously suppressing her feelings and emotions. I just like how strong she is. I love a strong main character. I also really like the story, the plot. It is still very reminiscent of the show The Order, but this one is just obviously way more fleshed out and has better writing, essentially, and I'm really liking that. I just like how everything is flowing and how things are basically coming to light. She obviously joined this secret society, as I said, because she was trying to figure out what actually happened to her mother, because she thinks this society has something to do with the death of her mother, and in order to get the information she needs to like get higher up in the ranks in this society. So she has to undergo these trials, essentially, and she's been killing it. Like, she's been doing really well, and she's also building a relationship with Nick, who is somebody that is very important in this society. I'm not going to say what he is, but he's very important. But because she's building this relationship with him and also building relationships like within this secret society, it feels like she's kind of losing her purpose for actually coming and joining this society. So it's very interesting, but also the romance it's very interesting to me, because when I first started this book, I was thinking, oh yeah, there are like two possible people that could be the love interest. That's what it was looking like. And then she really started building this relationship and furthering the relationship with Nick, and I was like, oh, this is cute and all, but it did feel like quite insta-lovey, and I was kind of not a huge fan of that. But I guess it is because there will in fact be a love triangle situation. There's this other character called Sev. He is basically like the protector of Nick, because like I said, Nick is a very important person in this society, in this world, and Sev literally has an oath to protect Nick at all costs, and so he has been very mean and hateful towards Brie, our FMC, because he thinks she is trying to manipulate and, you know, essentially hurt Nick. And so he has been very like untrusting of her, blah blah. But it seems like they are now building a bit of a friendship, and it also seems like she is now developing feelings for him. So it's kind of this cliche situation where the FMC has like this blonde-haired, blue-eyed golden retriever, good safe boy that literally will do anything for her. She already has that boy, but then she starts to catch feelings for the rugged bad boy dark-haired, annoying, grumpy character. And yeah, it's very interesting because it does feel a bit cliche. If it actually is what is happening, I'm not too sure. This might actually just all be in my head, so I don't know. And I just find it all very interesting because I don't necessarily care too much for either of the boys. I just don't think either of them have chemistry with our FMC, and the fact that they are both white is very interesting to me. Actually, I'm not sure if I think Sev might be a person of color. I'm not too sure. So yeah, it's very interesting that I don't care too much for the romance in this book, but I am really liking the plot and the storyline in general. That's really what I'm holding on to. And the world, I find the world very, very interesting. So yeah, I guess it all depends on the ending, because right now it's looking like a 4-star, 4.25, but it could definitely be more or less depending on how this author wraps up the story and where we leave off for the next book, because this is in fact a series. But yeah, as for Divine Rivals, I don't even know. Like, I really don't know, because I did not expect this book to be a book that I just did not care for. Genuinely, like I said, I saw a lot of people talk about this book and say that it was a letdown from the first book, but I still wanted to give it the benefit of doubt. I still wanted to try my luck, but this one just feels too freaking slow. And the fact that even from the first book there wasn't much world building, like the world building was actually really bad in the first book, but that fact was stifled by how I actually liked and cared about the characters, and also the love story, and also the plot in general. It was very fast paced. This one just feels too slow, and there's not much happening. Like, nothing's actually gripping me in this book, and that's making the fact that there's literally no world building like very apparent and prominent, and it's just putting me off. It's really upsetting me, and it's really annoying me even. Also, we basically have the same thing that happened in the first book happening in this book. You know, in the first book she joined this publishing house as a journalist, and then she decided to join the war, essentially to be a war journalist, but also to look for her brother. And now she's basically doing that same thing, but this time to look for kids. And it's just like, it's very redundant, I think, and I feel I'm not too keen about the premise of this book and how it's moving right now. I just need a little bit more, and I hope that it does pick up, because right now I don't really care. Like, I am actually really over it, and that's crazy to say considering I gave the first book 5 stars. I genuinely thought this one would be another 5-star as well, or even at least a 4-star, but at the moment it's not even up to that, like, whatsoever. But yeah, I guess we'll keep reading. I'm pretty sure the next time I update you guys, I would have been done with Legendborn, so I can focus on and hone into Divine Rivals, because honestly I just want to get it over with at this point. No tea, no shade. But yeah, whatever happens, I will let you know. We have 13 hours and 41 minutes left, and I am done with Legendborn. I think I'm going to settle on a 4.25 because I really did like basically everything about this book. There were some issues with the plot that I not necessarily enjoy, and also the romance was not my favorite thing ever, and that's why it's not a 5-star. But other than that, I really don't have any problems. Everything that I already said prior to this like still stands. The book was just so freaking good. The writing, very straightforward, but still very like lyrical and inspired, and you know, to the point. I just really enjoyed it, to be honest, and I cannot wait to get into the next book in the series, because the ending was very, very interesting. And the whole thing with her mom, the way it's kind of like settled down, was also quite interesting. Like, it was not shocking, but I also did not really expect it, and I was like, oh, kind of underwhelming. But yeah, I also really love this book because I don't think I've ever read a book where the FMC is a black girl and like her blackness was so prominent. It was very interesting to me, and I actually really appreciated it. And yeah, 4.25, really good book. I get the hype, and I cannot wait to continue this series. That being said, I am now 68% through Ruthless Vows. I'm currently on chapter 40, and yeah, it has definitely picked up. The pacing has picked up, the plot has picked up, and I am quite enjoying it right now. Things are finally happening. I am really enjoying it. It's definitely not giving me the feelings that I had when I read the first one. Like, I don't think that will ever be replicated, but I am enjoying this for what it is right now. And yeah, it's definitely looking up from here. I do have to go out and run some errands. That's why I'm dressed up. So I'm going to, maybe listen to the audiobook for the rest of Ruthless Vows and then finish it, so I don't have to pause the timer. And then when I get back, I will start a new book. I actually don't know which book I want to start. Maybe a physical book. I don't know. But yeah, I'll let you know. Time check, we have 2 hours and 44 minutes left. Okay, I haven't been updating you guys because I've literally just been reading and doing random stuff. I did finish Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross, and I will say I generally really liked this book. Obviously in the beginning I was like, oh, this is not really what I expected, this is not what I wanted, it's not really giving me what I thought it would give me, and that was in fact true. But I will say that after like the 50% mark, things really just picked up, and it actually really blossomed into like a very good book in my opinion. It's still not as good as the first one, but I really liked how things shaped up and how the story went about. I also really liked the ending. It was very like cute and wholesome. I really liked it mostly because I love these characters and I love their love story, so that just really made me feel warm and fuzzy and just happy. And also the epilogue I really liked. I will say this book had a lot of problems, obviously, with the pacing. The first half was like just not as good as the second half of this book, and honestly thank God, because if they stayed on the same level, like that would have been bad. But it really picked up and it really turned into something I really and genuinely enjoyed. I also did not really love a lot about the plotting because it felt like it was just carrying things from the first book and replicating it. It felt very redundant and repetitive because we had the whole situation of them joining the war once again, and the whole situation of them sending each other letters and falling in love with each other again by sending letters, and it just felt repetitive because that's literally what happened in the first book. So I did not like that fact. Regardless of all this though, I really enjoyed the ending, and I think in general it was in fact a very good book, just not the best follow-up to Divine Rivals. I've said this like 100 times now. Yeah, I'm kind of grappling with what rating I actually want to give this book, because there's a part of me that wants to give it 3.75 and there's a part of me that wants to give it 4 stars, but there's also a part of me that wants to give this book 4.5 stars, which is very interesting. Definitely not a 5-star. It did not give 5-star whatsoever, unfortunately. So yeah, I will end up putting whatever rating I actually decide on the screen so you guys can know, but it's definitely giving 3.75 4-star. And then after that book, I started this book. This is Throne by Sarah Cox. This is a women's fiction, if I'm not mistaken, and basically it's about, let me just read the little blurb at the back of the book. The dilapidated community center is no longer the beating heart of the estate that single mom Becky remembers from her childhood, but the new pottery class she's helped set up feels like it could be a fresh start, and not just for her. As Becky and her neighbors come together to try out a new skill, unremarkable lumps of clay are hesitantly, lovingly transformed, and so too are their lives, molding friendships, throwing relationships off center, and revealing concealed passions. But what happens when the cracks begin to show? Okay, so I guess that's kind of straightforward. There are like 4 women. Are they 4? I think they're 4 or 5, if I'm not mistaken. And they live in this little community center, and they all just have so many things going on in each of their lives, and they're just grappling with that, trying to survive essentially, and trying to just mend their lives. They have so many things going on that I don't want to say because it would be, they probably will be spoilers, but like there's one that is having, you know, thoughts about cheating on her husband. There's one that is having problems with her family, and you know, with her children. Like there's so many issues with the women in this book, but like with this community that they have, and also them starting this little pottery class, they are kind of building friendship with each other, but they are also having problems with each other. Like it's just very, like, I would say, drama filled. It is definitely a fiction, so it was hard to get into at first because it does read like a fiction, and I do really like the writing. I think it's very well thought out and not really too flowery or lyrical, but definitely inspired and intentional. I'm just really enjoying it. It's like a very slow, cozy type of book, which is why it's taking me a little longer to read it, because I'm also kind of annotating. I don't really annotate, I just underline stuff that I think is like cute or whatever. So I am currently on page 214, chapter 36. As you can see, this one is Sheila's POV, so it is written in third person, but we follow each of the point of views from time to time, and it's just very interesting. I really am enjoying it. I have this much left, and it is taking me so much longer than it actually should, because this is relatively a small book, you know. I probably should have finished this by now, but I don't know, I'm just kind of enjoying it and letting myself be immersed in this cozy little world. There's not much happening, but also there's still much like dramatic situations happening within their lives, and I'm just enjoying it. Honestly, I'm just living for it right now. And so yeah, I obviously will be able to finish this in the next 2 hours, because we have about 2 hours left. And yeah, that will probably be the end of this video, but I will let you know whatever happens, obviously. It's literally like 2 a.m. right now, and I'm so locked into this video. Like, I'm locked in. So I just wanted to do a little face mask and talk to you guys a little bit. I really wanted to talk about Legendborn because okay, I wanted to talk about Legendborn because I feel like I did not really get into it as much as I would have liked. Okay, I feel like Legendborn was so much better than I expected. Obviously, I expected it to be good because it is like a very popular book, and a lot of people that I like in the booktok, booktube space and kind of relate and resonate with have given this book, you know, high praise and high ratings. So I expected it to be good, but I did not expect it to be as good as it was when it comes to the writing and also the world building. The world building is something that I still cannot stop thinking about because it's just so interesting. The fact that it's based on like King Arthur and his heirs, and the whole thing with the sword on stone, and what's the name of that sword again? I forget what the name of the sword is, like a very long weird ass name. Why can't I open this thing? Like, I've been trying to open it. Okay, so yeah, I really enjoyed the world building and also the ending. I will not say it was shocking, but I also did not really expect it. Okay, it kind of gave Cruel Prince vibes. Okay, I think it's the second book in the Cruel Prince or the Folk of the Earth trilogy. The thing that happened at the end of the second book. Wait, am I spoiling? Sorry. But yeah, it was very reminiscent of that, and I kind of liked it, and it left me very intrigued as to, you know, what will happen in the next book and where we will be going from the next book. I actually can already see the plot of the next book. I can see where it's going to go and how we're going to go about it, or at least that's what I think is going to be done. But it depends on, you know, what route the author decides to take. Oh my god. This definitely looks so freaking crazy right now. Yeah. Hi. I can't really talk too much, so this was kind of not as long a talk as I wanted. But yeah, let me know if you've read Legendborn, because I'm very intrigued by it right now, and I definitely want to kind of look up fan art and just immerse myself in that world once again, because I really like the world. The world was my favorite part about the book, to be honest. The FMC was great. I liked her. She was very strong, blah blah blah. But I did not care too much about the romance that was happening, the love triangle situation that was trying to happen. I really just was there for the plot, the story, and the world. So yeah, let me know if you've read this book, what your thoughts are about it. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and keep reading this book now, and I'll see you honestly when we're done, because I'm kind of over it. Like I said, it's 2 a.m. and not that I'm tired, but I'm tired. Like, alright guys, I did in fact finish this book, Throne by Sarah Cox, and I think I'm going to settle on a 4-star. I really liked everything about this book. I thought the writing was really good, and I loved how it was like humorous. Like, there was really nice humor incorporated in the writing and the storytelling and the relationships between the characters. And the plotting, it was obviously not fast-paced or anything, no high stakes whatsoever, because it is just following these women and their lives, very much character-based. And I really liked how it ended. It was very wholesome. I even like teared up a little bit. I just really liked this book, and the fact that it was so short and to the point, even as a fiction, was very much enjoyable to me. Okay, really great book. If you're into like women's fiction or fiction in general, you should really check it out, because it was very reminiscent of the Thursday Murder Club, and I really enjoyed that book. I actually give that book 5 stars. So this one kind of gave that vibe, but not actually not very similar. But you know, if you're into that, check it out. That being said, we have come to the end of this video. Okay, I do still have about 37 minutes left on the timer, but it's 5 a.m. and I got to go. Like, I'm getting delusional. Like, I need to get some sleep. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. It means the world to me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and also follow me on Instagram if you want to be book besties or just besties in general. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.